Hey everyone, thank you for tuning into this week's video on the Spark Your Speaking channel. Today I'm going to talk about 5 mistakes to avoid as a keynote speaker. My name is Kathy Lee and I'm your public speaking coach. Being the keynote speaker of an event can be a very nerve-wracking experience. There's a lot of pressure on the person because people who are at the event most likely came to see and hear them speak, right? So there's a lot of pressure there. In my experience, and I've been the keynote speaker at many events and have learned a lot of things along the way, I've certainly made a lot of mistakes as well, and I've done other things well, but to save you trouble, I've compiled a list of 5 mistakes you need to avoid as a keynote speaker so that you can start off on the right foot, or you can correct and improve things for your next talk. The first mistake to avoid is memorizing your script. I get it. When you're nervous, it may seem enticing to memorize what you're going to say instead of trusting that you know your own story and can relay it to your audience confidently. The problem with memorization is that you will have to remember the order of the words and the order of your paragraphs. Rote memory doesn't give you the flexibility to pivot and change things up in the event you make a mistake. So if you just memorize, then you're stuck with that imprinted script on your brain. And if you make a mistake, then you have to go back in your mind to that very same spot, and then you have to remember exactly what you need to say after that. This can be very overwhelming and be the start of a disaster. Even if you don't make a mistake, you can come across as robotic or disingenuous or rehearsed by trying to deliver a script that you've memorized. What you need to do instead is summarize the main points of your story. I go into depth about how to do this in another video, so if you haven't watched that video yet, make sure you do. You will learn a very effective method that will help you remember lots of script. The next mistake to avoid is kind of the opposite of memorizing your script. It's reading your PowerPoint verbatim or reading your script verbatim. If you get the chance to have a PowerPoint, that's great. But your PowerPoint should only accompany or complement your speech. It should not be the crutch that you rely on to deliver your speech. Same with your script. I never have my students deliver a keynote speech or presentation with their full script in front of them. If they are using a script, it is only there to be a guideline to help them remember what to say next. Again, the issue with reading off of a script verbatim or reading off of a PowerPoint verbatim is that you can come across as monotonous or robotic or stiff, and then you lose that connection to your audience instead of engaging with them and giving them eye contact or responding to them. You'll be so fixated on your script or PowerPoint that you may as well put up a wall in front of your face because that's how your audience is going to feel. The next mistake to avoid is not preparing ahead of time. I've never gone into a keynote speech or presentation without preparing ahead of time. Even after all these years of doing it, I still prepare because preparation gives you a roadmap as a guide. It tells you where to start, what your stops are along the way, and when to end. In the event things go sideways during your talk, you still have that roadmap to help guide you. I spend a lot of my time helping my students prepare for their speeches, and we dedicate a lot of time creating the framework of their talk. And then we spend even more time rehearsing. That's the other step a lot of people forget to do. They commit to creating the roadmap, but then they don't ever rehearse. The first time they actually go through their speech front to back is at the event. Oh my God, do not do this. At least run through it a few times. So if you think about athletes or stage performers, they learn the skill and they rehearse or practice. Athletes go through drills, stage performers go through dress rehearsals, so treat public speaking just like any other skill that you need to learn and rehearse and prepare for it to achieve success. The next mistake to avoid is forgetting about the audience. Often, novice speakers come to me and think that being a keynote speaker is meant to fulfill their dreams or their ego. Now, don't get me wrong, it can be nice to be up on stage and know that the people who are in the audience are there for you. But if you only make your speech about you, you're going to come across as arrogant, possibly self-involved. When you are preparing for a keynote or any presentation, the first thing you have to keep in mind is what is the audience going to get out of this? What are they going to learn? How will they benefit? Okay? So change your frame of mind around why you are there, and you too can win the audience. Remember, they are there to see you and hopefully benefit from what you have to say. Now, before we get to my last tip, I just want to thank you again for tuning in and learning with me. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you can keep getting free weekly public speaking and training videos. Finally, the next mistake you should avoid as a keynote speaker is rushing through and forgetting to pause. Take your time in front of your audience. Let them know that you aren't in a rush and you are thrilled to be there and spend time with them. When people are nervous, they go through their talks so quickly that the audience barely has any time to digest the content they're hearing. If they don't have time to absorb what you're saying, how can this benefit them? How can they learn from you? Remember to breathe. Remember to pause. Even though you are on stage or at a podium, and let's say there are lots of people in the room, you can still make it intimate. You do this by reacting to the audience. When you ask them a question, pause and let them respond to you with a nod. Or maybe you've asked them to raise their hand. Give them a chance to do that. You can connect to them whether there is one person in the room or 500 people in the room, okay? That's all for today, everyone. Just to recap, 5 mistakes to avoid as a keynote speaker are memorizing your script, reading your PowerPoint verbatim, not preparing ahead of time, forgetting about the audience, and rushing through and forgetting to pause. If you like this video and you found it helpful, remember to hit the like button below and share it so that other people can learn as well. If you have any questions or topic ideas, feel free to leave me a comment. And if you would like to learn more about the other public speaking programs that I have to offer, make sure to go to my website, sparkyourspeaking.com. See you next week.